This is Caleb Jones, and this is the Alpha Male 2.0 podcast, freedom-focused lifestyle design for men. And today I'm going to cover the 13 rules of the Alpha Male 2.0. I'm going to summarize them. These are kind of, if I had to pull out the core rules of who an Alpha Male 2.0 is, what an Alpha Male 2.0 is, what an Alpha Male 2.0 life is, these are the rules. All 13 of them are mandatory if this is a lifestyle that you seek. There is none that are more important than the other. They're all required. They're all necessary. Some are more necessary for others depending on where you are in your life, how old you are, your personality, and your current objectives, but they are all mandatory. Now, obviously, if you really want to go in hardcore into what Alpha Male 2.0 is, you need to read The Unchained Man. That's my primary book. That's at alphamalebook.com. But in the meantime, these rules will get you started. And here they are, listed in no particular order. Rule number 1 is you must be always working toward 1 or 2 big goals that excite you. Now, what I talk about is that you want to keep it to a maximum of 2 goals or projects or areas of improvement that you're working on at one time. A big mistake a lot of guys make is they say, I wanna make 6-figure income, and I want to have 3 MLTRs who are all like perfect 10s, and I want to get a black belt, and I want to get down to 8% body fat, and I want to graduate college, and I want to this and that and this and that, and move out of my country. No, you can't do all that at the same time. You can do all those things, but it's going to take you some time. You want to work on 2 at a time. So you can't do all of them at the same time. What you do is you take these 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever goals you've got, you pick the 2 biggest ones that have the greatest impact on the others, you work on those 2, and the rest you put on temporary pause where you focus on those 2. I call this the rule of 2. And as soon as you accomplish one of those 2, wonderful, then you can grab one of the other 6 and turn those on. If you try to constantly work on more than 2 goals or major projects or major areas of improvement, it's likely going to cause you to spin your wheels and stress you out, and you're not going to accomplish much. And I've seen a lot of guys try to do this. And this is hard, but this is something you have to do. I've wrestled with this myself, but I try to, most of the time, 90% of the time, focus on no more than 2 big goals at a time. And I usually work on a quarterly basis. So on any given quarter, I'm working on 2 big important goals. I might have some sub goals under those goals, but I work on 2 primary goals. Very, very important. But the Alpha Male 2.0 should be working on at least 1 or 2 big goals that turn you on. The quintessential definition of a beta male, at least one of them, is a guy who just exists, who just goes to work, puts in his hours, then he goes home, he has some dinner, he plays some video games, he watches Netflix, he jerks off to porn, he goes to bed, and that's pretty much his life. That's not going to work. That is not going to make you happy long term. And the core backbone of the Alpha Male 2.0 lifestyle is long-term consistent happiness. And as men, we are creatures of work. We are mission-seeking creatures. We are goal-seeking creatures. And when you're working on a project, when you're working on a goal, when you're working on something, you will be more happy. You'll have more energy. You'll have more purpose. Very, very important. Speaking of mission, rule number 2, you must formulate a personal mission. I've talked about this a lot. And this is the meaning for your life. This is why you exist. This is why you get up in the morning. More than just, well, I have to get up in the morning because I got to pay my goddamn bills. That's not a purpose. That's not a mission. That is existing, not living. So you have to determine a personal mission and stick with it regardless of any other conditions that change in your life, which they will. Your life can and will change. Your mission should not. You can tweak your mission over time. I've tweaked mine, but it's the same mission I established a very, very long time ago. Somewhere around going almost 20 years now, maybe 17, 18 years when I figured out my mission. Now, one thing I will say about my mission, and I'll have more podcasts and more information on this. I have an entire chapter in The Unchained Man on how to formulate your personal mission. One thing that I have changed since writing that book is if you are under the age of 30, you don't need to figure out a mission yet. Figuring out your mission is hard. It is your long-term purpose in life. It is not a goal. It is something you can't accomplish. I want to make $1 million is a goal, not a mission. And usually when guys give me sample missions, they're really goals. Your mission cannot be a goal. It cannot be something numerical that you can accomplish. It's a long-term lifelong or at least a 25-year plus time frame. And so that's hard. It's hard to figure out your mission. It might take you several months to figure that out. And if you're under the age of 30, most guys under the age of 30 really don't know what their life means yet, even if they're successful. I certainly didn't in my 20s. And I had my own company in my 20s. I was making a 6-figure income in my 20s. And even I didn't completely understand what my mission was. So if you are 29 or under, you have my permission to skip your mission for the time being. Defer that until you're 30. If you are 30 or over, then yes, buddy, you need to sit down and figure out your mission. Yes, it's hard, but you've got to do it. If you don't have it, you'll meander throughout your life. And even if you accomplish your goals, you'll end up meandering after that, because that's what happens to a lot of successful men, as I've talked about in the past. These guys will accomplish their goals, and then they'll say, oh shit, now what? And then they'll just kind of get lost. I went through this myself in my late 20s, early 30s, but a lot of men have gone through this, a lot of successful men. Now that is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is you don't accomplish anything because you have no fucking mission. So very important. Rule number 3, outcome independence. Outcome independence. It is a core aspect of Alpha Male 2.0. Alpha Male 2.0 existence is not possible if you are outcome dependent. Outcome independence means you don't give a shit. And if you are outcome dependent, you will never be long-term happy. It is literally not possible. So you must, this is hard for a lot of guys, you must learn to calm down and stop giving a shit. Stop caring about your society or your country or politics or the economy or what your girls are doing when you're not around, or what your family is doing, or what your friends say about you when you're not in the room. You should not care about these things. You should not give a shit. Women and money are automatically attracted to the man who doesn't need either one. This is how this works. If you are constantly desperate over, I hope this date works out, I hope I get this one client, that's outcome independence. You can't have this. You can be outcome dependent about the macro picture. I've talked about this in the past. You can be outcome dependent, so to speak, on your big long-term goals. I certainly am. These are goals I want. But on everything else, I am completely outcome independent. I just do not give a shit. And the older I get and the longer I've been Alpha Male 2.0, the more outcome independent I've become. I'm at the point now where I just don't give a shit about anything except my goals, and that's it. And boy, will you be happy when you're outcome independent and you just don't give a shit. Now, yes, on the macro, you want these things. You want to make money, you want to have sex, you want to have a good woman life, you want to be physically healthy. These are macro things. On everything else, you don't give a shit. Outcome independence means you don't care about the outcome of any one individual scenario, like any one particular date, or any one particular woman, or any one particular business meeting, or any one particular test you have to take, or whatever it is, or any one particular trip you need to take, whatever that is. You do not care about the outcome of that individual event. I'll use a first date as an example. This is a common experience in my life over the last 14 years as an Alpha Male 2.0. If I'm going out on a first date and she's super, super hot, I do not give a shit how that date ends up. I literally don't care. If she calls me an asshole and throws a drink in my face and walks out of there, I don't care. If she just is kind of neutral at the end of the date, I don't care. If she leans forward and says, oh my God, I'm falling in love with you right now, I don't care. If she says, let's go back to your place and have sex right now, sometimes that's happened. It's not typical, but it has happened on the first date. I still don't care. I do not care about the result of any one individual interaction in my life. I just don't care. I'm outcome independent. I don't care. And that's one of the reasons I am far happier than just about every other man I know at any age and at any income level. I don't care. I just don't give a shit. It's awesome. Learn how to do this. And I realize that's hard for a lot of men, but you've got to learn how to do this. Alpha Male 2.0 and long-term consistent masculine happiness is not possible if you give a shit. I could do a whole thing on that. I've talked about this topic a lot. I'm not going to go into that, but you get my point. Rule number 4, and I've talked about this a lot. This is an Alpha Male 2.0 baseline minimum. One of the 2 core baseline minimums of Alpha Male 2.0 is that you must make at least $75,000 per year in pre-tax net income. And just to be clear, that is in American dollars. So that is the minimum you need to make. If you make less than $75,000 a year in US dollars pre-tax, you are less happy than you could be. And they have done numerous happiness studies on this. And they have found just about every time, every study that I've read on this, when people make less than $75,000 a year, When they make more, when they increase their incomes, they are happier. Whoever said money doesn't make you happy is empirically incorrect. Money does make you happier if you make less than $75,000 a year. Now, once you get over $75,000 a year, it gets a little more complicated. Some men are happier when they make more than that. I certainly was when I made more than $75,000, but some men really aren't. And some men are a little happier, but they get to the point of diminishing returns where, maybe making double $75,000 doesn't make you double as happy. That's fine. I'm just saying you need to make at least $75,000 a year. You should be making more than that. I don't care how much of a left-winger you are, or how much you hate rich people, or how much you hate capitalism. You will be happier if you make at least $75,000 per year if you don't already. And the good news is $75,000 a year isn't that much money. It's really not that big of a deal. It's really not that hard. It's $6,250 a month pre-taxes, before taxes. Not a big deal. And the Alpha Male 2.0 is self-employed, so you're not going to pay much money in taxes. A second component to this I'm not going to get into is this income must be location independent. If you are stuck in an individual city or region or country in order to make your money, you are not free. I don't care if you love your city. I don't care if you love every aspect of it. You are still not free if you're locked into one city in order to pay your bills. It's very, very bad. You need to make at least $75,000 a year or more. You can certainly make a lot more if you want. I make a lot more than that. And it has to be location independent. If you make $1 million a year, but it's at a job where you have to, drive to an office in a certain city, and if you don't do that, you're going to lose your income, you're not free. Sorry, it's the way it goes. Rule number 5, another core aspect of Alpha Male 2.0, you can never be completely sexually monogamous. Monogamy is defined as you are having sex with just one woman. There's 2 kinds of monogamy. There is declared monogamy and de facto monogamy. Declared monogamy is when you sit down and say, okay, I'm only going to fuck you and you're only going to fuck me and we're a couple now. That's horrible. Ugh. My spine chills even as I just say those words. Then there's de facto monogamy, which unfortunately is kind of common for a lot of Alpha Male 2.0s or wannabe Alpha Male 2.0s when they get complacent. And that is you're having sex with several women, but you get lazy and or complacent and or busy with other areas of your life. And let's say you're hooking up with 3 women and 2 of the women you allow to just float away because you're just lazy and complacent. You weren't paying attention. And now you're only having sex with one woman. And then you wake up and 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, a year later, oh my gosh, I've only been having sex with one woman. That is de facto monogamy, and it's still monogamy. A lot of guys seem to think that monogamy means you have sat down and made this very verbal, clearly stated commitment to be monogamous. That is incorrect. Monogamy means you're having sex with one woman and that's it. Whatever else surrounding that scenario is irrelevant. Monogamy means you're having sex with one woman. Pair bonding is okay. The Alpha Male 2.0 can be pair bonded. That's what OLTR and OLTR marriage is. I am OLTR married, so I am pair bonded. But monogamy is not. I am not monogamous. I have sex with other women besides my wife every week. And I plan on doing that for the rest of my life. Not every week, but on a regular basis. You can never promise or exercise absolute sexual monogamy in any way to any woman. And you can never delude yourself into thinking it will work long term because monogamy doesn't work long term. I've quoted statistic after statistic after statistic ad nauseum about why long-term monogamy and how long-term monogamy does not work. If you find one special woman you really like, then great. Feel free to decrease your sexual activities with side women if you wish. I did that when I got married, but never, ever allow the number of women in your sex life to get to just 1. 2 should be your bare minimum. My minimum has always been 3. Because 2 is too close to monogamy. If I have 2 women and one of them breaks up with me or gets a boyfriend or leaves or moves, I'm monogamous and that's not good. So my minimum has always been 3. I recommend that for other men, but if you wanted to have a minimum of 2, that's fine. Rule number 6, you must practice redundancy in your financial life and your woman life. Alpha Male 2.0 is about redundancy. We do not rely on one of anything because relying on one of anything in the modern era is stupid. You must have multiple streams of income, not just one. You must have eventually 2 to 4 small businesses, not just one. You must be having sex with multiple women, not just one. Relying on just one of anything is a path to eventual unhappiness. It can't not happen. You cannot rely on one of anything. 1 is the most dangerous number. Never, ever rely on one of anything. I certainly don't. Rule number 7, Make sure you are having sex on a regular basis. Now, different men require different frequencies of sex. Every guy has a different level of sex drive, different level of testosterone. Older guys might need less sex than younger guys. That's fine. But if you are regularly letting 30 days or more go by with no sex, you're in a danger zone. You cannot do this. You are damaging your overall happiness as a man. As a man, your entire body and brain was wired to have sex. I could go into a whole thing about that. Stuff from doctors, stuff from physiologists, stuff from psychologists, but just trust me on this. If you're not having frequent sex, frequent as whatever you consider frequent, maybe that's once a week, maybe that's several times a month, maybe that's 3 times a week. For me, it's 3 times a week. Whatever it is for you, if that's not happening in your life on a regular basis, you're not going to be long-term happy. Don't be a pussy. Stop making excuses and get it done. Do whatever you need to do to design a sex life where you're getting all the sex you need so you don't have to worry about it. And as I've talked about to men in the SMIC program and the Alpha Male 2.0 Focus program, we have frequent sex as Alpha Male 2.0s, not because we're pussy hounds and not because we worship sex, but to be effective in our business lives. I have sex not because I need to have sex. I have sex so I can focus on my work and build my mission. If I'm constantly horny all the time and distracted because I'm not getting laid enough, and I'm constantly thinking about sex and jerking off and all that stuff because I'm not getting enough sex, my work life will suffer, the rest of my life will suffer, my mission will suffer, my spiritual life will suffer, my family life will suffer. You've got to get laid on a regular basis and stop diminishing the importance of sex for a man. Rule number 8, you need to look as good as you can within the confines of your height, your genetics, and your age, and do so for the rest of your life. Now, yes, if you're 63 years old, it's going to be much harder for you to be good looking than if you're 25 years old. My point here, as I said, within the confines of your height, your genetic, and your age. So if you're 63 years old, you need to be a really good looking guy as compared to other 63-year-old men in your city. That's how this works. I have talked about how older men, especially if you're over the age of 35, you should be the top 15% of men who are your age in your city. I am 49, and I am not good looking. I am not Tom Cruise. But if you compare me to the typical American 49-year-old dude, I'm pretty damn good. I'm not the top. I'm not number one. I'm not in the top 1% or 5% or even 10%. But I am the top 15. I'm probably number 50, and I'm probably right at that 15. But that's fine. For you younger guys, that means you need to back off on the drugs, back off on the smoking, back off on the alcohol. Kind of pay attention to how you dress, your posture, things like that. For you older guys, that means you need to watch your diet, which I know is hard. It's been a challenge for me, but I could be a lot fatter than I am now. I have a lot of obese people in my family. So you need to watch your diet. You may need to spend some money on cosmetic procedures as you get older. That's fine. Beta males and the alpha male 1.0s who surrender to monogamy, which most of them eventually do, they can afford to let their looks go as they age. You can't. You'll be non-monogamous for the rest of your life. You've got to look decent and look good for your age for the rest of your life. Rule number 9, focus on getting as many positive emotions as you can while simultaneously avoiding all negative emotions. I have an entire chapter on this in The Unchained Man. It's chapter 2, probably the most important chapter in that book. And the bottom line of that chapter, you can read that chapter if you want for me to explain it. But the bottom line is, and this is a controversial statement, but I'm right. There is literally no need for you to experience any negative emotions once you've hit age 25 or so. The reason for that is by age 25, I am pretty sure you have experienced every negative emotion known to man. Anger, sadness, fear, jealousy, loneliness, all that shit. On and on. I am sure you've experienced all these things. You know what these things feel like now. You don't need to repeat them anymore. So if you're 25 or older, there is literally no need to ever experience a negative emotion for the rest of your life. There really isn't. I'm not saying that's possible. I'm saying it's not needed. Leave the emotional problems for the young guys under 25. They still need to learn what that's like. But if you're 25 or older, you're done. You're done feeling bad. You're done feeling negative. Focus on positivity. There's nothing virtuous about being unhappy. That's a bunch of bullshit right-wing societal programming. It's time for you to be happy and stay that way. Rule number 10. Always remember that society's role is not to make you happy. The role of society is to ensure that you are a drone who serves the elites. My friend Richard Cooper says that society is a beta male factory. He's absolutely right. Also remember that the vast majority of men who are in your life are not going to agree with your alpha male 2.0 lifestyle choices and will likely not be your allies in this. Just understand that and get used to it. Man up. Don't worry about that stuff. Outcome independence. If you follow societal programming, if you do what society wants, you will not be happy. Yes, your mom will pat you on your head like a good little boy and say, good boy, you have a good job and you went to college and you're married now to a strong, dominant wife who kicks your ass and you had 2.3 children and I'm so proud of you. You'll get those kinds of accolades, but you won't be happy and you sure as hell won't be free. You've got to remember that society is not there to help you or make you happy. It's there for you to be a cog in a machine, and that's it. Now, if you want to be a cog in the machine, go ahead, but that's not Alpha Male 2.0. Rule number 11, avoid as much as is possible legal structures in your personal relationships with women. So you need to avoid things like legal marriage, co-owning property with a woman, co-owning a business with a woman. Matter of fact, co-owning these things with men is a bad idea too. Co-signing on loans or debts with women you date, sharing a lease with a woman. These things are not smart. Dealing with women in your romantic life, in your sex life, is complicated and dicey enough. You do not want to add government to the mix, which is exactly what you're doing when you engage in these legal structures. Not smart. All you're doing is that you are increasing the problems that you will incur when you break up or divorce this person. So when you break up and now you've got to deal with this lease that you've both signed, or when you break up and now you got to deal with this house that you both bought together 50-50. I've seen so many people go through that. What a fucking nightmare. It's amazing that people still haven't learned to not do this. My goodness, it's so dumb. You can't go through this stuff. Always keep everything legally separate. As I've talked about before, especially when you move in with a woman, you share everything, but you co-own nothing. Very important, even if you're married like I am in my OLTR marriage. Always remember, and this is a hard one for guys to remember, especially more traditional guys. Always remember that loving a woman, living with a woman, taking care of a woman, even having children with a woman does not require sexual monogamy. It does not require legal traditional marriage. It does not require that you co-own a house with her or co-sign a lease with her. It does not require these things. You can do all these things without doing any of that stuff. The only reason you think these things are required is because of false societal programming, which we talked about earlier. Rule number 12. The more you are rooted to a particular region for your income or your love life, the less happy you will be long term. This is location independence that I talked about earlier. Men who are stuck in one place are not men, they are plants. That comes right from Doug Casey. He's right about this. You've got to make sure that both your income and your woman life are location independent. The Alpha Male 2.0 has income that is 100% location independent, so he can go anywhere he wants, whenever he wants, stay there for as long as he wants, and the income just keeps coming in. He's fine. That also applies to his sex life and or his love life. He can go anywhere he wants, stay there for as long as he wants, and he's still going to date and or get laid, and he knows this for a fact regardless of where he goes. I've just described my lifestyle. I am 100% location independent, both financially and sexually. I don't have to worry about these things. I travel all over the world and I go wherever I want, whenever I feel like it. As I'm recording this podcast right now, I'm spending several weeks in Paraguay. It's a fantastic place for me to visit. Love it here. I come here a lot. I would not be able to do that if I had location dependent income. And this would also be kind of a pain if I had one girlfriend back in Canada or the United States or Dubai or wherever, and I couldn't have sex with any women here without cheating, and cheating is another big set of complications. So you've got to be location independent. If you're not location independent, you're not an Alpha Male 2.0. At best, you're a little better off beta. That's at best. Last rule number 13. This is a big one. And this is a hard one for guys to get, especially younger men, especially more left-wing men, especially men in certain generations like millennials and Gen Z. But even older guys do have a problem with this. And that is that no one has the right to make you unhappy. No one. No one. I don't care if it's your mom. I don't care if it's your dad. I don't care if it's your wife. I don't care if it's your kids. I don't care if it's your best friend. I don't care if it's your boss. I don't give a shit who it is. No one has the right to make you unhappy. Now, I'll make one exception for this. If you're under the age of 18, if you're not yet a legal adult, you're kind of fucked. You need to wait until you're a legal adult, and then no one has the right. But if you're 15, sorry, your parents do have the right to make you unhappy because you're not a full adult yet. You don't have full agency yet. You don't have full freedom yet. But if you're 18 or over, no one in your life has the right to make you unhappy. You must permanently, or at least temporarily, eject anyone, and I mean anyone, from your life who causes consistent unhappiness to you. You must do this. I talk about soft nexting and hard nexting. You must do this. Friends, parents, siblings, coworkers, bosses, jobs, wives, girlfriends, FBs. It doesn't matter who this is. If someone is making you unhappy, you can try to work with that person once or twice, and if they keep doing it as a pattern of behavior, kick them the fuck out of your life. You can be nice about it. Don't be a dick. Don't scream and yell and call them names. I'm never talking to you again, goddammit. Just leave. Just go away. Block their number. Block them on social media. If it's a family member or several family members, don't go to family events anymore. Okay, does that mean I can't go to Christmas? That's fucking right, buddy. Maybe you need to take a year off from your mom, or take a year off from your dad, or a year off from your brother, and then try it again in a year or two. No one has the right to make you unhappy. There is massive societal programming, both left-wing and right-wing societal programming. This is one of those weird places where both the left and the right kind of agree on this, that says to you that, well, she's your mom, so she has a right to scream at you and make you unhappy. Well, he's your dad. He has a right to do this. Well, she's your wife. You need to stick it out with her. She has a right to scream at you whenever she has a bad day. Well, they're your kids. They're your kids. They have a right. You made those kids, so they have a right to make your life a living hell. No, incorrect, wrong across the board. No one has the right to make you unhappy. No one has the right to make me unhappy. And everyone in my life knows this. Everybody, friends, family, women I'm in my sex life, including my own wife, no one has the right to make me unhappy. No one. And they know if they make me unhappy as a pattern of behavior, I'm out. I'm out the fucking door. It doesn't matter who it is. You need to not forget that you're going to die soon. And that means you're never coming back to enjoy this world and all the wonder and joy that it offers. This is not a video game where you can die and then just go back and do it again if you screw this up. You only get one shot at this. You only get one shot at life. I do not believe in an afterlife. I do not believe in reincarnation. I'm not an atheist, but I don't believe in those things. You get one shot at this, and then you're done forever. Do not waste your life by being angry or lonely or dealing with drama or bullshit or being limited by someone else's rules. That is beyond insane. You need to be happy. That's why you're here. At least that's my philosophy and my opinion. That's why you're here. You're here to experience happiness, long-term happiness, not short-term happiness. If you want short-term happiness, go do drugs. Go eat Taco Bell. You'll be happy for a little bit and you'll be miserable. I'm talking about long-term happiness. And that's not possible if you hang around people who are constantly making you unhappy. I don't care if it's your fucking mom. Your mom can fuck off. I've talked about this a lot in my podcasts and in my YouTube videos and on my blogs. That doesn't matter who it is. You own you. This is your life. This doesn't belong to anyone else. No one has the right to make you unhappy. Those are the 13 rules of the Alpha Male 2.0. If you want to be long-term happy, if you want to be long-term free, those are the rules you need to live by. Those are all the rules I live by, plus a bunch of other ones. But those are the core rules, and I have much more material about this very soon, but I hope this has helped. I will see you very soon. Have fun. Bye.